Previously, Emperor Gaojun learns the true harrowing history of the Raven Consort by Shoshua's tongue. Gaojun realizes soon enough that his reign will only flourish if he has the Winter King, Shoshua, by his side. With Shoshua doing her hardest to keep the emperor away, will Gaojun be able to erase the distance between him and Shoshua? Let's uncover it in today's recap. Suddenly, the spirit of Bingyu takes charge of Jojo's body. When he tries to threaten Jojo's safety, Shoshua shows him just what she's capable of. As she's about to send him to heaven, Gaojun stops Shoshua. Bingyu finally discloses that he took over Jojo because he wanted Shoshua's help to free his lover, Princess Mingzhu. After listening to Bingyu, Shoshua quickly realizes that for Mingzhu to find peace in death, they'll need to retrieve her glass comb. Once the comb is located, both Bingyu and Mingzhu transcend to heaven. Late at night, Shoshua travels to help Gaojun get rid of his night terrors by dispelling the curse Empress Dowager had put on him. Touched by her gesture, Gaojun asks Shoshua if she hates him. Shoshua tells him curtly that she despises the old Winter and Summer Kings. When Gaojun offers his gratitude to her, Shoshua averts her gaze and runs away from the palace. After returning from her meeting with Huanyang, Shoshua finds Gaojun and Wei Qing at her door. Gaojun reveals that he has dissolved the law that demands the heads of Luan dynasty. He bows down and says that when they're away from the public's eye, he'll treat her like a Winter King should be treated. Gaojun concludes his business by stating that he wishes to befriend Shoshua. One day night, a cloaked woman greets Shoshua in a state of distress. She pleads with Shoshua for resurrection. Shoshua explains that her powers are limited and she can't oblige to her wishes. The lady runs away in tears, leaving behind her veil. A young boy, Isiha, enters Shoshua's palace for business. Shoshua immediately detects injuries on him and orders him to lie down so she can tend to his wounds. Isiha states that he sees a boy who looks gloomy. He expresses his wish to help the boy. The next day, Shoshua and Jojo enter the Fian Palace to look for the ghost. When the two get a sighting of the boy, they note how sad he looks. Shoshua then meets with Siha's master, Kong Lan, to inquire more about the ghost. When he refuses to speak, Shoshua expresses her anger and the man ends up revealing what little he knows. When she's gone, the man states in fear that he saw a monster in Shoshua's eyes. With Gaojun and his eunuch's help, Shoshua finds a man that knows about Yuasha, the ghost boy. He reveals that in order to appease the swallow consort, Yuasha murdered a swallow bird which is punishable by death. Shoshua concludes that it's Yuasha's guilt that torments him. After using her powers, Shoshua gives the boy a passage to afterlife. Later, Wening begs Shoshua to take in Siha for he knows about the hardships of an eunuch. Without the moon illuminating the night, Raven consorts fail to contain Miaolian inside them. Shoshua too shares this terrible fate as the current Raven consort. Her painful yells engulf the entire palace while a mysterious man, Feng Xiaoyu, reveals his intentions to kill Shoshua. At night, a woman called Huliang comes seeking Shoshua's help. She states that she hears Wanlin, the consort that committed suicide. Shoshua consoles her that she'll help her, and the next day she visits the lake where Wanlin drowned herself. Shoshua inquires more about Wanlin from Huliang. She reveals that after her lover was caught and beheaded, Wanlin carried a pouch of dirt that was tainted with her lover's blood. Huliang expresses her remorse for taking away her pouch and driving Wanlin to her death. Shoshua quickly comments how selfish she was. The old woman falls to her knees and begins to cackle. She admits that she reached out Shoshua for her own sake as she was afraid of Wanlin's curse. Shoshua calmly states that Wanlin has reached the afterlife. She further says that the voice she hears is her guilt as she has already died. Shoshua labels Huliang a ghost, and true enough, Huliang takes the appearance of a hideous woman. Huliang falls in the lake after seeing her disfigured face. Shoshua puts on a charm in hopes of saving her soul. One day Gaojuan's scholar, He Mingyan, informs him about the recent ghost haunting when Chancellor Yin Yongda greets him. Yongda mentions how he's been hearing about the Raven consort recently. He advises Gaojun to maintain his distance, and if he's unsatisfied with his harem, he can regale him with his youngest granddaughter. Gaojun curtly tells him that he's fine and walks away. Shoshua meets up with Shui Yuyong and the two talk about the old Raven consort. Gaojun finds Shoshua talking with Yuyong and says that he knew she'd be here. Since Shoshua's form of love is berating, she tussles with Gaojun and tells him that she's leaving. Shoshua notes to Wei Qing that Gaojun looks dejected. Later, Gaojun greets Shoshua with the haunted cloth mask. He informs her that it's a mask that's commonly worn by musicians. Shoshua sends word for Wening, who gives her further information. At Aoji Hall, a musician called Suiqiu Yao shows a rare treasure to Shoshua, a lute with 5 strings. With Yao's strumming, Shoshua determines that the man must have had some attachment with the lute. Upon hearing this, Yao reveals that he has a hunch that the ghost is a man called Chifu Shirtsue. Yao then confesses that he was the one behind Chifu's suicide as he took his beloved lute from him. He pleads with Shoshua to free Chifu of his misery. Shoshua puts her powers to use and sends the damned soul to the afterlife. Night, the lady who had left her cloak behind is found brutally mangled in the forest. Jiujiu relays the news to Shoshua. Meanwhile, Gaojun tells Yuyong that Shoshua takes great pleasure in learning about the old consort Raven from him. Shoshua, dressed in an eunuch's clothing, greets the two men shortly. After Yuyong retires from the emperor's presence, Shoshua and Gaojun enjoy a board game. When Gaojun defeats Shoshua, she begins to pout and sulk. Gaojun, being a gentleman, hands her some sweets. Later, Wei Qing identifies the dead woman as a court lady working for the magpie consort. In her palace, Shoshua determines that the lady who had come to her isn't the same woman who was found dead. Wening informs Shoshua that magpie consort has fallen ill, and though she remains secluded, she allows one eunuch near her. He shows Shoshua the drawing of Xiaoyu, confirming her worst fears. When night falls and Wening hasn't yet arrived, Shoshua grows apprehensive and runs to check up on him. In the forest, she's greeted by Gaojun, who consoles her when she blames herself for putting Wening in danger. Shoshua tells Gaojun about the owl aka Xiaoyu and his murderous intentions for her. They all rush to the magpie consort's palace, where they find Xiaoyu waiting for them. With the incense burning and something far more sinister in the air, Xiaoyu meets the group with a smirk. Without saying a word, he disappears. The frail magpie consort begs for Gaojun's forgiveness and reveals that she had approached Shoshua with the hopes of resurrecting her brother. When she was turned down, she ran into Xiaoyu, who made her wish come true after blowing life into a clay mold. Shoshua locates in a room filled with cups brimming with blood. As the blood-sucking fiend goes on a rampage, the magpie consort offers her blood and pleads with Gaojun to have mercy on her brother. Suddenly, Shoshua slays the monster by directing a magical arrow towards him. In the dead of the night, Shoshua calls for the owl. When the two face each other, Xiaoyu reveals that he doesn't wish to hurt her, but the raven, Miao Lian, trapped inside her body, must perish. As he's about to hit Shoshua, Gaojun and his troops come to aid Shoshua. While fighting, Xiaoyu states that they can't kill him as he's using a decoy body. He also reveals that the first raven consort, Xiangcheng, is the one to be blamed as she trapped the raven inside her. When Xingxing appears out of the blue, Shoshua uses his feather to kill Xiaoyu. So much for being indestructible. After her fight with Xiaoyu, Shoshua ends up fainting in Gaojun's arms. In her dreams, she recalls her conversation with Xiaoyu on how Xiangcheng started the tradition of feeding Miaolian the flowers, which in reality is harmful for her. Meanwhile, Gaojun learns that an insider abetted Xiaoyu to sneak inside the inner palace to kill Shoshua. After learning that Yuyong was the mole all along, Gaojun spreads his eunuchs in search of him. Meanwhile, Yuyong greets Shoshua at the inner palace. While playing a board game, Yuyong recalls his childhood days with the old raven consort. Once the game is over, Shoshua states that she's aware of his intentions to kill her. As Yuyoung draws a knife, Gao Jun comes to the rescue. Yuyoung angrily asks why Gao Jun stayed by Shoshua's side when she already has friends unlike Lin Young, who is always alone and uncared for. Gao Jun calmly replies to him by stating how Shoshua was Lin Young's salvation as she took care of her. After allowing Yuyoung to retire, Gao Jun asks Shoshua if she would have accepted her death at the hands of Yuyoung. Shoshua tells him that when she closed her eyes in the face of death, she saw his face and recalled his words. Gao Jun was her salvation. There are very few Japanese anime set in Chinese background recently, and this anime is very well done. Hope that season 2 will be soon. I'm Jenny from Quick Anime Recap. Thanks for watching and see you all in next video.